All right. All right. All right. All right. Hello, everyone. There's people waiting today. Did the tweet help? Did the fact that I scheduled this ahead of time, did that help? Please let me know. I would really I'm trying to learn this as I go. I'm trying to understand what the hell's going on and how to obviously I've done streaming like many times in my life before, but not like for my own channels or anything like that. So I'm trying to understand. Let me know if you're waiting here. If you've just joined from the very beginning, how did you find out? Was it a notification from YouTube? Was it Twitter or something like that? Nevertheless, thank you guys for joining already. As Josh says, happy centre forward day. Not quite there yet, are we? But we basically are. So yeah, happy centre forward day. Are we happy with the centre forward? I think people are. You know, there was a bit of risk, a lot of risk a few weeks ago. Even me, like I think at some points I've had this idea that United probably did need to go with the more experienced centre forward or something like that. But I think as the kind of fight with Newcastle has developed and as we've got to this point, you know, I think everybody's pretty happy with this. Hello, Jonathan. And Josh, he's also saying hello to you as well. Josh, who just commented. Did for me, mate. Corey, hello, mate. What's good, Scott? Remember the last time we signed a big athletic left-foot striker almost 2 years ago on the strip? Miles, right? Look, I don't know. What happens to him now? What happens to him? It is going to be interesting. It seems like United are going to try and force him out, which is a bit of a shame. I would like to see him. I'd like to see him stay, really. But we will see. Manpreet's here as well. Hey, Scott, never thought I imagined back in May that our attack after 2 months will have Cunha, SESKO, and Mbumo in it. I don't think anybody did. Like, really? I don't think anybody did at all. I'm trying to fix this, the way that these themes are popping up, actually, as the comments are coming up. I don't like it on the screen, but I'm trying to work it out as we go. Look, honestly, as Manpreet says there, never did we imagine back in May that the attack would have 3 different new players in it. It's United are doing some business over the summer. Suvik's here as well. Got a push notification from you two. Corey, dedicated ex-follower. Thank you very much, mate. Got a notification. Okay, so it's a good idea then if I do stream these and put them out there ahead of time and you guys hit the notifications so you join this. Thank you very much. I am here at 5 today as well. I was going to come in earlier, but having done streams recently, and from what people have said in the comments, 5 o'clock UK time as I record, this is probably the best time for everyone. So I will try my best. Josh got the notification bell from YouTube. Jonathan as well. Corey says, yes, and the need for a mid and a goalkeeper are critical in the longer term. Look, I still think I would really like to see United go and get a goalkeeper and a midfielder. Like, really? We'll see. I think United will get those 2 players in. It just what is the profile of those players going to be? I'm not sure yet. How expensive are they going to be or whatever, you know? Greetings from Vancouver, says Damien. Hello, mate. Thanks for joining. Jonathan says, do you think we can get SESKO in for the Arsenal game? I think personally he will be on the bench. That's my kind of gut feeling. I think we will get this deal kind of wrapped up in time for maybe he's presented to the crowd in this friendly against Fiorentina, the Snapdragon Cup at Old Trafford on Saturday, or maybe he goes through all the formalities. I think we'll probably get some kind of confirmation on an agreed fee today, tomorrow, maybe. Maybe, I think. It doesn't seem like it's that far away. Anyway, United have put this 85 million euros on the table to start with. It was 75 plus 10. And now I think they're negotiating with Leipzig in order to get the fee. But we know that like Newcastle are pretty much out of this race now. So we'll see. I think that deal will be kind of agreed soon. I would imagine his medical, the interviews and that kind of thing, maybe earliest, maybe Saturday. I don't know. If not, maybe the start of next week. I think he'll have a full week's worth of training or most of it next week. And I think he'll probably be on the bench for the Arsenal game. That's my kind of gut feeling at the moment, Jonathan. Let's see. I think this is the right choice, says Srinath. Am I pronouncing that right? Please let me know. Also, welcome to the stream, mate. Thank you very much for joining. I think this is the right choice. We can't be afraid to sign high potential players because we didn't do enough due diligence the last time. SESKO is far from what Rasmus was when we signed him. Agree. as Corey says here, Big Miles, the Rasmus clone. Just for you guys who maybe haven't joined or weren't kind of in Vegas a couple of years ago, Corey, who's a long time listener, did meet me and Rob out there when we were in Vegas for a friendly against Borussia Dortmund, and we established that his lad Miles is literally the spitting image of Rasmus Højlund, and he was just signed at the time, so everyone was calling him Rasmus. It was a good time though. It was a really good time. Didn't get to go on the tour this year, which was unfortunate, but it was, good fun. It was good to meet you then, Corey, as well. Jonathan says, I'm hoping we go in for Agume from Sevilla next. He ranks high in all the metrics, doesn't he? I think we'll see what happens with that. We will see if, I think he'd probably be priced at around 30 million euros or something like that. So we'll see. I think we'll end up buying a midfielder as well. Calm. Jonathan, if you want a mod, Scott, I'd love to be one. I did say this yesterday. I think I added Ben, who may not be here yet. If he's going to join today, I don't know. I think I added Ben. Jonathan, just drop me your @ and I will do that. I think I didn't have enough time really to go through the video yesterday and kind of identify everyone that wanted to do that. But yes, of course, I would. I will take anybody that is willing to join in. If you're happy to go and do that, I really appreciate it. Manpreet, hello, mate. For anybody comparing Sajim to the Glazers, just see the difference from a cash poor to full-on attack rebuild. This was possible because of tough but necessary dimensions from Ineos. Very true, man. I've been preaching that message for a long time, and it is not always the most popular thing to say, especially in the last 6 months, especially the fact that so many people were affected by the cuts that were made. It was horrible, absolutely horrible to see that Manchester United were doing that to people. But at the same time, you can't, I'm not in the club, I don't know, but you look at the size of the workforce at the time, and they must have deemed it necessary. And now, you would hope that the operation is now a leaner one. Amarim's spoken a lot about the mood within the club as well, and how difficult it was for the players and for the coaches to see that people were losing their jobs at the back end of last season. The mood around the club was terrible, but I think hopefully now we've had time to kind of have a reset and look forward. And from what have you guys seen the Lisandro Martinez video that he posted of Diego Leon on Instagram? I saw it last night. If you haven't seen it, go over to Lisandro Martinez's. It's probably on Twitter as well, and on the social media. It's probably been circulated a bit, but it's on Lisandro Martinez's Instagram. It's a carousel, and there's just pictures of him and the players in the US, and there's a video of Diego Leon trying to learn how to use chopsticks and failing, but he eventually succeeds. I think it's just the way that they kind of egged him on and cheered him. It's a big kind of departure from what we have seen, the misery that United's players have been through over the last few years. I just kind of get the feeling there's a little bit of a difference. And yes, Manpreet, exactly. There's so many differences. There's so many differences. I've seen talk of a protest. I had time to kind of look at that today and the reasons why. I think it's not the right approach at this time. I'm very kind of. I agree that people obviously should have their right to protest, and there are things to protest. I just think that this is the wrong to make the focus on Jim Ratcliffe. I think is the wrong approach personally. Rugby itch, hello mate. Hi Scott, appreciate the content. Continue to grind. It's fun actually. It's quite fun. Cantona will save the world. I used to buy SESKO on FM when he was 16. So did I. He was good on that, so it's good for me. We've chosen him. Last time my FM purchase joined our club was Tevez. I think the deal's down to me. You can't claim that one because I'm going to claim this one as well. I think I did a United save and I had SESKO in it as well, but he wasn't he didn't actually live to his potential in that game. So I think he was, kind of a second choice striker or whatever it is. Jonathan again says, Agume and Lamans on top of the forward additions for me. That's an 8 to 8.5 out of 10 window. Yeah, we'll see. United seem to be plucking this money out of somewhere. There was a report today in The Athletic which kind of outlined that United had, obviously, I think this was already known as it was. United paid down 50 million quid in their credit revolving credit facility a few months ago. And there's a possibility that they're drawing into that again. There is still room to maneuver in that. Obviously, you don't want to go and see United putting money on a credit card as it is, but with the fact that they have still not sold any players yet, hopefully they do before the end of the window. With the fact that they haven't sold any players yet, you do wonder if United are taking that risk and putting deals, using the money and the credit there to kind of go and attack the season in the transfer window now to try and like lift the performance levels throughout the season moving forward. We'll see. We'll see what it is. Suvik says, I think the Højlund experiment left us all a bit burned, but SESKO is a very different player, especially in the air. Scores a bunch of header goals. Also, like, guys, look, I've watched some interviews with Benjamin SESKO today, and I've seen him dunk a basketball. He can jump very high, you know? So you got Brian Mbeumo, who was, I think, one of the leaders for crosses last season. And you've got a guy who can jump as high as Benjamin SESKO to kind of put balls in away through heading. Hopefully, we'll see. Harish says, don't think United will be able to afford to buy a first-choice midfielder and goalkeeper unless they have lots of money left. They might go for a midfielder on loan and then go all out next summer for a CM goalkeeper and centre-back. I kind of agree with you there. I think, if anything, probably the most likely thing, I think, for me at the moment, maybe you do get a Lamans or something like that if Bayendier ends up going. I would really like to see United go and sign a goalkeeper. There's been links with Donnarumma over the last few days, and maybe we can talk about that in this show today. But I would like to see a promising goalkeeper coming in like that. The midfield area, there's been some small rumours today over Baleba, nothing to really sink your teeth into or anything like that. But that Baleba link, those Baleba links, all generated by Manchester United should do this. There's no actual, concrete is the big word nowadays, isn't it? No actual evidence that United are actually going to go after that, because at this time, where are they going to get the money from? I don't know. We'll see. I've just spent time talking about the credit facility. I don't know. T2, hello, mate. Picture the scene. Level with Arsenal, SESKO comes off the bench and Boomer cuts back and floats an in-swinger into the box. SESKO rises to pile drive ahead of home. Imagine, man. Imagine. Justin says, will SESKO be ready for Arsenal? Nice show. Probably. Maybe not to start, but in some capacity, I would think. Manpreet, I would put Martial also in the high potential but underwhelming camp. Jonathan, I'm adding your at. Just writing this down now if you guys are happy to wait for me. Just so, if you want to be a mod, I don't know how many I need, but you guys really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys who've been watching for time as well, even when this channel had about 1 subscriber or whatever it was. Yeah, at the sushi place. Yes. It was good fun. I haven't even talked about anything I want to talk about yet, because there's Ben made it. Hello, mate. I already added you a mod. Congratulations, you're the first one. Let's see. I have like topics that I want to get into today, but I might just kind of like bounce back off your comments for the start, just because it's fun. At the rate, United should just offer Højlund plus cash for Baleba, as Brighton could use a striker. What would you guys do? Would you sell Højlund or would you loan him out? I think I'm kind of looking at the players that United are loaning out at the moment, getting quite frustrated with it. If anything, I would prefer Højlund to be loaned. Sell Garnacho, man. And try and get a big fee for him. Corey again says, you can add one more substantial signing. Don't go keeper or mid. You can add what do you mean? Don't another substantial signing that isn't a goalkeeper or a midfielder? I don't know. All I'm thinking of is Baleba at the moment, to be honest. Yeah, Jonathan, I'm not going to bring that comment up, but I don't like that at all. He's referencing there the comparison that the protest made between Jim Ratcliffe and something that shouldn't have been done. I think it was not the right way to go, personally. Nathan says, I ask United fans not to expect too much this season. We still need work, but we're moving in the right direction. Love the content, man. Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it. Do you think we'll sign more players? I think United will still sign 2 players, personally. Probably like a young goalkeeper. I didn't finish my point. A young goalkeeper, probably, and a lone player. I just look at Douglas Luiz at the moment, and I think if you want Premier League proven players who can hang in the Premier League, who are gettable for not a lot of money, Douglas Luiz is probably the player out there at the moment that sticks out. And I do have this is apple and blackcurrant Robinson squash, by the way. After people asked yesterday. Josh says, new training ground reveal on Friday. Could it be that we've secured a big sponsorship deal? Imagine, you wouldn't put it past them. There's a new guy in charge of commercial partnerships and negotiations and this kind of thing. Wouldn't surprise me. T2 says, there's plenty of valid criticism you can aim at Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but it's mental to say he's the same as the Glazers. He put his own money on the line. Completely agree. And when we were saying, I remember me and Rob, way back when, we're talking about this and the differences between what we wanted through the ownership. You see now that what if PSR wasn't a thing and Newcastle could go and throw 10 billion euros or 10 billion pounds in one summer because there's no rules or anything like that. I kind of would lose a bit of detachment to United. I would prefer that United became self-sustainable, and that's the path that I wanted them to go on. Ratcliffe has obviously invested his own money. He's not in this, guys. He's not in this to make money. He can make money a hell of a lot easier with other stuff that he does. This is a thing, a desire to restore a failing giant of a football club. That's what this is. I don't doubt the intentions at all. And as much as you can look at Ratcliffe and there are things to criticize about him, obviously. He says a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. But after that first year or so, now that you've got Barada in charge and now that you've got other people kind of, your Wilcoxes, your Vivels, who's really stepped up in this SESKO negotiation, this kind of thing, he's been trusted to go and get this player and make the difference. You've got people who understand football now in charge of the football and operation. So I think what he has done is he's taken over Manchester United, and it's been a bit painful for a while. And it might still be painful going forward, but I don't doubt that United are in a better position now structurally than what they were a few years ago. We're about to be the waviest 5th or 6th place team in the league. Yeah, we'll see. I'm talking about this a lot, and you don't want to go and overestimate what United can do this season, but I probably will talk about maybe this a little bit later in the video. The physical element, I tweeted about it today, the physical element that United they were lacking. They were beaten up by a lot of teams. I take Bournemouth as an example and Brighton. These teams that can outrun United and are stronger than United and have more energy. United lost a lot of games because that was one of their big deficiencies. And because they couldn't put the ball in the net when it mattered, And I think they've addressed a couple of those areas over the course of the summer. Eric says, loving the live videos. Has this been the window you hoped or expected? They spent more money than I thought they would, personally. I wouldn't say I'm happy with it really because of the fact that they haven't been able to sell players. The Garnacho one is, for me, you got my happiness on this window. I think I want to see United become better sellers. Absolutely. I think we know that they have problems with selling, but I think Garnacho is a really good case for me of how much they've improved. He's on about 50 grand a week, right? I know he's fallen out and he's watching videos of himself scoring goals in matches or whatever it is, while the team are out there in the US having a good time or going to watch Drake and having a good time, these kinds of things. United need to show that they can raise money through sales substantially. I would have liked it to have happened by now, but I understand why it hasn't happened by now. I want to see more. I want to see United sign 2 more players, goalkeeper and a central midfielder. Absolutely. I understand if they're not going to be super expensive ones, but hole pluggers at the very least. And I want to see them actually recoup a fair bit of money. I want to see players leave permanently, personally. That rhymes a bit. Jonathan Ball says, people watching, not enough likes. Please like the video. If you've not done so already, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel as well. I would really, really appreciate it if you do so. I'm getting used to this. I actually recorded the Promised Land podcast for audio platforms just before I jumped on here because I'm actually having a lot of fun chatting to you guys in the comments. Over the last few days has been really good fun. And Peter O'Leary says, get a notification on YouTube, and that definitely works. Please do that as well. So hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. I'll be talking about Manchester United a fair bit. I'm moving out of this flat on Friday. So I might have like some days where I can't like actually jump on at this time. But the intention is to, you know, try and like establish a process, especially through the season, of trying to jump on here, build this YouTube channel up, and do the podcast alongside it. Because look, I think the fact that you guys are watching, really cool. It's really fun. Manpreet says, I would not worry about the midfield and goalkeeper issue. I trust this regime. I believe they would have thought this through. Nothing as of now have given the signal they're naive enough to ignore problems. Agree. I'll say this again. United scored 44 goals in the league last season. I think they conceded 54. So while they had some bad days, and that Newcastle day particularly sticks out as a bad day for Ruben Amorim and for United, they conceded a lot of goals under Erik ten Hag. Their midfield was wide open for a lot of the time. But Amorim came in and the team looked a lot more solid. So I know that United need more in midfield. But I think there's a more solid base there now. The problem last year was they didn't score enough goals. So I understand that they are looking at adding players in the attack as a top priority. Because if you're ending up scoring more goals, then generally you're going to get more points. You'd think it works that way anyway. Suvik says, offload Højlund for sure. Cheetah's development's a priority. I just think here, you're not in the same situation. You don't really want Cheeto as the second choice striker. You know, you got Xerxes and you can play Mbumo and Cunha through the middle. But I quite like the idea when Cunha played up front the other day. Didn't love it really. I wanted him to kind of play in one of those two 10 roles and have Mbumo next to him to kind of get a feeling for how this team's going to look moving forward. But I don't know. I think they for what it is, I think they will offload Højlund. I think they will sell him now. I think they will sell him. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand they've got to raise money, and if they're taking 30 million quid plus add-ons or something like that for him, or 30 million quid on its own for him, just in order to kind of get some cash in, I would understand that because it would lessen the position. And you've already got your first choice striker in with options beneath that to kind of rotate around. If anything, I quite like Mbumo, I think, in the striker role over Cunha, but we'll see. Jason says it's not so much that United need all the money up front for Baleba, they just need the first installment payment. A Garnacho's sale would fund Baleba for the installment. Look, right? I agree. I would love that to happen. Personally, we haven't yet had any kind of confirmation from anywhere that Carlos Baleba is a name that's on Manchester United's list. So I think we're all kind of like trying to summon this into existence and summon this into happening. And hey, like, he is absolute number one target for me. Or he should be absolute number one target for me. We'll see. Like United, like we established already, United have surprised us already. So we'll see. Justin says, my worry with Højlund is you can't train touch into him. Yeah, fair enough. Just doesn't have any. But this from Harish here is the point that I think is quite important. If you're looking at, and this is my exact thought process that Harish has kind of outlined here. If anything, I'd loan Højlund because I think we might get a better fee next year if we choose a right league and team for him. Keep a buyback option just in case when we sell him. The buyback option is definitely something that maybe United could put in there, but I don't know if they will end up doing that now. I just think, like, look at how much fuss is around Benjamin Sesko. Look at the fee that he's going for. I know he's probably more talented than Højlund is and has a bigger reputation for himself. And Højlund kind of came out of nowhere, lofted through to like the levels where United paid as much money for him as they did. I know that United need to raise money. I look at players like Sancho, Anthony, and Garnacho, and I think I would like to see United sell those players first, because you would think that Højlund I just think of Højlund in the Bundesliga, right? Think of all that space in behind defenses. Think of Højlund's game. Think of his strengths. Think of his speed, and think of his ability. Remember that goal against Galatasaray in the Champions League that he scored because he had a lot of space in behind, helped somebody off, and kind of dinked it over the goalkeeper or something like that. And we all thought, this kid's got something. The way that United have played over the last, under Erik ten Hag and under Ruben Amorim has not really suited him at all. You put Højlund in the Bundesliga, I think he scores goals, personally. Because he will get more chances, he will have more space to run into. That's kind of why I would more favour a loan to like a Dortmund or something. Because you potentially have an opportunity here for him to go. Imagine he goes and scores 20 goals in the Bundesliga next season, or 15 goals in the Bundesliga. Because he's playing for a team that feeds into his strengths, a strong team in that league that where a lot of players go to and find it easier to score in that league than in the Premier League, for example. I really think that if you kind of send him out on loan to Germany, he doesn't want Leipzig by the sounds of it, but a Dortmund or something like that, if there's interest, maybe even Serie A. I think Milan have been linked with him today. If you go and send him out there and he does well, you're getting more than 30 million for him next summer, probably. So I think that's the way that I would play it. But obviously, I don't have the numbers to hand. And I don't see Højlund in training every day. So we'll see. Corey says, typo this, Scott. Seems like you would add a mid. I go Emmy and find a mid in Jan. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And this is true as well. Apparently, Scott is even nicer in public. Great dude, support his work. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. And I have met Corey before. Also a very nice guy. Really, really appreciate him. And he's been listening to the podcast for a long time. So if I ever bump into any of you, please, don't be afraid to come and say hello. Would really appreciate it. Jonathan says, doing the push notification has really helped. Okay, that is something that I will think of. I'll try and do it at 5 when I can. We'll see. Ben says, I'm surprised about the moves in the market so far. Didn't think United would spend so much. I'm going to keep coming up. Paid comment. Nope. Honestly, I swear to you. I swear to you. There's so many comments. I've got to probably get into what I actually wanted to talk about on the pod. It's been 27 minutes. Nice to see you live. It's been a while since the last 90 Min video. There's no more 90 Min videos coming. 90 Min doesn't even exist anymore, I don't think, in the form that it does. We decided to end that show because we kind of had signs of what was coming. And then things changed, and I ended up becoming, a freelancer with a podcast and this kind of thing. And I think this is the way that I want to take things. But it takes a bit of a jump, and a bit of belief to establish in yourself that you can go about making it happen, rather than having like a big brand, big business behind you. For some reason, our players refuse to go to Saudi. Nunes is going there, and Chelsea frequently sell to Saudi, while our players just don't want to go. We find it hard to sell to other European teams. I would like to see United get in a fair bit better with, or even the players. Like if they're out of options, if Garnacho's out of options, right, and Chelsea come in with a 30 million offer on deadline day, say no. If you want to go play football, go to Saudi. United need to be. I want to see more like ruthlessness, I think. Corey says, Venmo me. Justin says, what's your Arsenal starting midfield with the current squad? Enjoyed yours and Rob's content for ages, so thank you. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it. I enjoyed you getting shit on in that show every start of the week. It was hard. It was hard at times. I'm just incredibly grateful, I've got to say, for United being so bad last season and me not having to record that show every Monday morning at 11 or whenever it was, with United being the worst version of United that I've ever seen. Sorry. What's your Arsenal starting midfield with the current squad? Probably Mainu Ugarte, I think, and maybe you put Bruno in one of the 10s, and I would maybe I don't know. I would kind of hesitate to maybe put Bruno in there in that game. Casemiro Ugarte, Casemiro seems to be pretty much out of favor. Maybe Mainu Ugarte is the midfield that I want to see in there, and maybe you fit Bruno Fernandes in one of the two 10s somewhere. I don't know. Obviously, a lot can change, but you've asked for the current squad. It's probably the best way to go because we've seen them in preseason. It doesn't always work, obviously, but I think they have shown in the game before that there's a bit of tenacity in there when it's needed. Where would you put, Jonathan, where would you put United's attack this season if it's Sesko, Cunha, and Mbeumo? I'm thinking top 3 at the very least. I don't know. I don't want to go and say things like that because we haven't seen them play together yet. We haven't seen them play together. On the face of it, it's a really good front line, but it depends on how they click. And United's record of getting the most out of players is trash so far. So I'm not going to go and say it's top 3. Let's say top 6 for now, I would think. God, honestly, I'm so glad that that season's over. And Jonathan says here, we need a promise man when United are actually good. The never too high, never too low thing, that will maybe flip reverse. And if United are good, I'll have to be bringing you down a level. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. AJ says, I'd take 30 million for Garnacho based on talent. He should be 80, but questioning the manager, his brother's stuff on social, wearing another team's kit is a huge red flag for anyone. But I agree with this, right? But what I want to see, and let me know what you guys think. I want to see United not tolerating that. If you go out and speak against the manager for not picking you in the final, you call the season what you call it. Your brother goes and does all this stuff on social media. You go and behave like that on social media. Why should that player leave the club on the cheap? It's a United need to make a statement with him, and it's a really good opportunity to make a statement on selling players with a guy that isn't on massive wages, that has a potential high upside in terms of fee. If they got 30 million for him and took it from Chelsea, I'd be really disappointed. I've got to be honest. I'd be really disappointed because Garnacho's won in that case. Players should not be able to behave like he has behaved and be let out of the club easy just by waiting it out to the end of the summer. Look at this. Dewsbury Hall to 30 million to Everton. Like, come on. Dewsbury Hall. Crazy. Garnacho is talented. You said yourself there, AJ, like 80 million. Like, 80 million is not going to happen, obviously, but I'm looking at like 50 at least, Even if it's, even if there's like some add-ons or something like that and it takes it to 50, 55, 60, like he should be, regardless of this behavior, he should be in that range. Is Noni Madueke necessarily better than him? I don't think so. Or like potentially. No, I don't think so. He's been like playing in the Dutch league until like last season or the season before that. And he's not really made the kind of massive impact at Chelsea. Garnacho scored in cup finals, has a lot of potential, but like just maybe the wrong attitude. I don't want to see United give in and let him go cheap because I understand they need the money, but I don't want to see them kind of cave into a player who's misbehaved. That's going to be a really important thing for how I'm judging United moving forward. And maybe this time around, because they need the money, maybe they take it. But it's a really good opportunity to set precedent of you misbehave. We are not making it easy for you to get out of this football club. For me, that's the right way to go. Tulip, hello, mate. I did try to add you as a mod yesterday or this morning, but I couldn't find your app. So I'll try again later. But Morton went for 15 million to Liverpool. Exactly. Like 15 million for like Liverpool, the way that Liverpool sell players. I think Rhian Brewster and players like this in the past have gone for that kind of money. And Garnacho's earnings are not massive. They should really dig their heels in here. Nath says the Geordies are losing it on Sky Sports. I'm not watching, obviously, but it is really enjoyable, quite funny. Another thing that's improved is the physicality of the team. Now we have a tank of a striker who will bully defenders, supported by agile and rapid 10s and wingbacks. Look, right, if you're watching this, I'll come on to this point in a second. If you're watching this, please like the video already. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. And I would really appreciate it if you could also look at the links in the description, subscribe to the Promised Land podcast, this kind of thing, if you want audio versions of this show. But obviously, the YouTube thing is a bit different. What I did explain on the episode that I recorded earlier, which is out now on Spotify, Apple, and those kinds of places. United's problem with physicality has been massive, and we have recognized that this has been the case for a long time, right? Bournemouth, Brighton, other teams like that have this level of physicality, which means that they dominate matches, they win duels. And Ruben Amorim's talked about it a hell of a lot, how it's a problem for him. What United have done over the last year is identify that themselves. I don't really think we've kind of clocked onto this yet because everyone's hung up on the fact that United don't have that physicality in the midfield area. And I agree with that. But at the same time, Patrick Dorgu, right, was the first player, was the player that was signed in January. United needed more energy at wing-back. He looks like he can hang in the Premier League. I think he does. He looks like he's strong. He's got a good engine on him. He's pretty quick. He can deal with duels. He can get around players. We need to see more end product from him, but I hope that will come. I think he'll have a good season, hopefully. Dorgu was signed to start with. Cunha absolutely ripped Manchester United to shreds 2 seasons ago on the opening day of the season against Wolves. Ever since that day, I've looked at him and gone, bloody hell, like this guy's pretty good. You know? Strong carrier of the ball, can like shift players off, got good, really good feet, strong, tall. Another player that is adding to the physicality of this team. Brian Mbeumo, massive on sprints. I think he's like top 3 for sprints in the Premier League last season. He is, in terms of distance covered as well, he's top 3 in terms of distance covered out of all players from the Premier League last season as well. Physicality added. He's not the biggest guy, but obviously he does bring his own element of physicality with him. And Benjamin Sesko, as has been pointed out by Manpreet here, 6'5", absolutely massive, really quick. He's talked about some of his best assets. Speed, he's put down in his own words, is his biggest strength. So speed, physicality, in United's own ways, they have been addressing these physicality problems throughout this year. And even if you go back to last summer, Lenny Yoro, the fact that they went big for him and spent probably at the time, which was considered a lot of money. People don't look at that now and think, oh, that was a lot of money, because they look at him and they think, this kid is good. He's also massive. He's also he's going to fill out. He's only 19 or whatever it is. This kid is going to be more physical. He's going to be a unit. He's quick, you know? Another player identified to lift the physicality of the team. Aiden Heaven, even, like from on the other side at left centre-back. Same kind of thing. Diego Leon, different, but still physical. Like, a bit shorter, but looks like, to say it nicely, a brick S-house, you know? Like, he looks like one of those players. It's a problem I think that United have identified that they have, and they will look... They need to add this in midfield, obviously. They will look to add more of this in midfield, and they need to. They absolutely do. But I think it's something that they have identified as a problem that they're trying to fix with all the signings, or most of the signings that they've made so far. Nate says, we have a price. We want to have the piss taken out of us. Exactly, yeah. Amorim man management skills have to improve. He hasn't come out of this situation, Garnacho, very well. I think it's about establishing ground rules, personally. Like, how did that story of what he said to Garnacho actually get out? I would imagine it came from Garnacho's camp. Like, you can't... Like, the fact that United's lineup used to get leaked every week, where did that come from? Why is that happening? It's undermining the team, you know? Harish says, just a recommendation, something different than other pods. You should have regular listeners participate in the pod if they want to come on video. So it can be a discussion when we get to listen to other fans' opinion. If you want it, like, guys, let me know. Guys, let me know. Hacker says, do I know Ben McManus? Do you? I don't know. Hello, Hacker. Oh, okay. You've already replied. There's loads of comments. Corey says, Miles just walked in and says, hey, hello there. 100 people watching. Like, this is probably the best that I've had so far on this channel. Please jump in. Please subscribe to the podcast. I would really, really appreciate it. And yeah, do everything. I would really appreciate. I really want to grow this channel. It's such a pain having to grow a YouTube channel from nothing, honestly. Really, really annoying. I did have another YouTube channel, which I kind of like looked at. And Suvik says that 30-minute heads up work wonders. Okay, good. Good to know. Please like the video if you've not done so already. I just want to grow this channel, like I say. I've been singing that song as well. I've been thinking that. You know, he said his idol is Zlatan Ibrahimovic as well. So it's interesting. The channel is growing exponentially. Taking a while though. I wouldn't say exponentially yet, but it's growing slightly. We're not even at the point where I'm not even at 1,000 subscribers yet. Where are we at? I've added like 20 since starting this stream. So if you've not subscribed already, please do. Would really, really, really appreciate it. Hardick says, come on, guys, we can do better on the likes. Yes, we can. And yes, Fred, I know it will come. I need to like keep on it. I know that I do. Really appreciate you guys, honestly. Do what Jakey does, make the show trick me into waiting an hour and then delay it 48 hours. Yes, that is something that it wasn't just him, actually. It was a lot of us, and Harry, despite what he said, was always like, I'm kidding, it wasn't always him. But it was usually like issues with the camera setup and this kind of thing. Anyway, I should probably talk about the fact that United have the thumbnail says SESKO chooses Man United. I've done the massive weakness part, but SESKO choosing Man United is a big thing. And let's maybe run through that. So, do we think that this is a overvalued deal? I'm interested to know, because I think there's a lot of noise to start with. Cheers, Nath, by the way. Good to find new United channels. Just subscribed and liked. Yeah, I've been working in the space for a long time. I just never had my own channel, really. And trying to go about it now. So appreciate you joining. Let's talk about this SESKO thing, right? 75 million euros plus 10 million euros was the first offer, obviously. And what I really liked about the way that United have done this is, while United in the past have been that team that have gone there and like done all the legwork, there's a difference now. You've got people behind the scenes who have experience of negotiating, have experience in the market at other clubs, and know how to do business. They let Newcastle, who don't have a sporting director, by the way, they do not have a sporting director currently. Paul Mitchell was there and he left after a year. It's as bad or like suggests kind of dissent in there, as bad as the Dan Ashworth thing did in November, or whenever he left. It was November, was it? Yeah, November time, whenever it was. It's nice to see that United have let Newcastle go in and do kind of all the legwork. They've established like a price range for what Leipzig want out of this deal. They put a bid in. That bid's even been accepted. And now United have kind of come in and they have a price range. They know, given even Newcastle had kind of agreed like loose terms on what SESKO wanted. But he was waiting for United to do something. And United were just laying in the background there, trying to like, well, giving the message to the player, trying to get the players buy-in first. We never say United are smart operators. I think the way that they've gone about doing this, even if you think they've overpaid a little bit, is smart. I think we're seeing a bit of a difference in the way that United operate. And they have like a good group of people in there who are making these decisions and doing these negotiations. It's just what happens is United get tarred with this brush of they don't know what they're doing or they overspend, because that is the easy thing to say, because that is what United have done in the past. That is their reputation. And the group that are in charge at the moment have to undo that. And the only way they'll go about undoing that is by the players that they're signing actually going on to be successes and the team getting better. Ruben Amorim has a big part to play in that, but so do these people who are in charge of getting these players in. As Nath says, Vavell and Wilcox are working their magic. Exactly. Manpreet says here, I like this new tactic of letting the market settle itself for a player and bidding only if the player wants to join us. Even if we overpay, it's not exhausting because we don't let a saga get developed. Hint, Frankie de Jong. Look, 3 years ago, I was working, covering that story absolutely every single day. It was so draining. And Frankie de Jong did not want to join. I didn't think it at the time. I always thought he was down to this... I thought it was always down to those like deferred wages, which was the main issue. But he always wanted to stay at Barcelona. Always wanted to. Hacker says, I hear United relies on aura rather than tactical recruitment. Might be true. They need to rely on this aura a little bit more. It's definitely damaged at the moment because they finished 15th. But as you've seen over the last few days, like players would still rather join Newcastle than rather join Manchester United than Newcastle. And Newcastle are in the Champions League, have been really well run for a good few years, have been really performing, getting the most out of their players. But there's still a shine to United which kind of lures players in. And yes, exactly. They have had a nightmare of a summer, an absolute nightmare of a summer. What's that, 7 or 8 players now that have been rejected them? The Euros are throwing me off, though. When you say £65 million, it doesn't sound so bad. And that is another thing as well that is confusing a lot of people, how it's reported in not pounds, even just it's reported in euros, and then it's reported in dollars. And then somebody, kind of a big account or something like that on social media, will take, oh, well, it's $100 million. Oh, wait, I misused the currency as £100 million. And that's how things kind of get like misrepresented for what they are. Like, you need to kind of pay attention and just look into the depths of it and understand exactly how the exchange rates work and this kind of thing. Like, I made this comparison a lot, especially on the pod over the past of this week. Yeah, Fred says here, you're heaping praise on their buying skills for getting the failure with this board in selling. Look, yes, I've said a few minutes ago that I want to see them. I think the Garnacho thing is a good barometer of how they should be selling players. And if they go and get a bad deal for Garnacho and let him go to Chelsea for 30 million quid, but I think that's a bit of a red flag personally. Because I know that the relationship is damaged with Ruben Amorim and this kind of thing. But at the same time, they should really be getting more out of the talent of that player, regardless of how he's behaved. And if they're sending a message to Garnacho that you misbehave, you kind of ostracize yourself from the team, you come out and do all these posts on social media, yeah, we'll let you go for 30 mil. Nah, you're letting the player win there. I don't want to see that. If Garnacho was at another club, would you want United to get him knowing the issues he can cause? No, not really. For how much? I wouldn't want us anywhere near him. That's why I'd take anything. Fair enough. Okay. Fair enough. But I do think that you can look at it the other way as well. I do think not all of this is Garnacho's fault. The fact that United have been so poorly run and so poorly disciplined for a long time means that they have allowed players to come through the youth team and think that they're bigger than their station. That never used to happen under Alex Ferguson. When Cristiano Ronaldo came into the club, he was kicked in training like every day by the experienced players to ground him. It's that attitude. It's that like the team hierarchy and these kinds of things. Like no player thought they were bigger than their station. And if they did, they were sold. You know? So what I'm saying here is, as much as I don't like Garnacho's behavior, it's a byproduct of the way that the club has been run for a long time. So he's not completely blameless, but that culture at the club has to change. And if Garnacho is continually behaving like that, then he has to go, for me. Right, I was going to make this comparison here when we're talking about pounds. I think it was Subic, right? 65 plus 5 million. That's not horrific, even if it's top end. Like I've seen, and like even friends of mine have been doing this over the last few days. Just sign Ollie Watkins. Go and get him for 40 million quid. If Ollie Watkins was 40 million quid, we'd been having a different conversation. I'd be looking at this entirely differently because I think that's a good value deal. But Ollie Watkins was 60 million quid. United have tried that. Ollie Watkins' name was mentioned before SESKO's really this time round, even though we've known that United have wanted SESKO for a long time. If Ollie Watkins was available for 40 million and I could do a deal for 40 million, it makes a lot more sense. But putting Ollie Watkins coming into the club on a 60 million transfer on a 3 or 4 year deal, which is what it probably would have been, that's a massive, massive PSR cost over the next 3-4 years. You know? Another 20 million or whatever it is. In SESKO's case now, 5-year deal, probably plus a year, plus if he succeeds, and there's a chance he won't, obviously, the extension of a contract, and that kind of amortization cost over the course of the deal is going to get less and less. So you're taking a risk with SESKO, but I think when you judge from 60 odd million quid for Ollie Watkins versus let's say 74 million quid, like overall in terms of add-ons as well, 74 million quid as it stands for Benjamin Sesko. That's 14 million difference in terms of the package. Ollie Watkins' wage is way higher, you would imagine, because he's at Villa. He would probably want to earn 200k a week or something. I'm plucking numbers out of the sky, but you'd think he, given his status, his age, his seniority in the team, he will want numbers like that. I think Sesko's wages will be smaller as well, because he's coming from a club like Leipzig and coming into a team like Manchester United. He might get high wages, but I think what United have tended to do with a lot of the players that they've got in that age bracket, you're looking at probably 120 to 150 a week, I would think, especially since Newcastle have already agreed those personal terms with him. Now, that's another smart thing that United have done. Let Newcastle go and negotiate all that so they know what he's asking for. Which club do you want to join? Are we going to give you more money to come to us, or do you want to come to us and we'll give you the same money? You know? I like the approach. Yeah, the Suvic, man, you're exactly right. I've seen people say get Watkins for 40 million or Mateta for 35. When is that ever going to happen? It's not going to. Oh, Mateta's out there. Go and sign Mateta. He'd be perfect. Do you think Crystal Palace are going to sit there and say, yeah, just take our striker for 35 million quid? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Mr. Cross says, on this Garnacho issue, you're spot on. The club needs to fix the culture and make an example out of the likes of him so that others will stand up and take note. Yes, that's the thing with Garnacho for me. It's a big opportunity to prove that United are mean business in terms of their sales. If they can afford to not grant Garnacho this move, if they get derisory offers over the course of the next 4 weeks or whatever, that's a hell of a message. There are 3 other players in this team, possibly even 4 now, that United should sell first. And like the thing with Garnacho is, because he's not on those Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford style wages, there's not, for me, a huge need to go and loan them out. To go and, what am I saying? Because they're on massive wages, you expect that they're going to be more difficult to shift, right? Garnacho, it's not a big burden in terms of wages that he's owed by Manchester United for another club to pick up. You'd think if he leaves and goes to Chelsea, he will get double his wages, probably. Or somewhere in that region, like maybe 50% more of his wages or something like that. We'll see. But it is important that United, they talked about culture so much, that them just kind of going back on themselves in order to kind of get money that will top up their cash position. That's, for me, you can do Garnacho. I called him the other day like a guinea pig. You can try this out on Garnacho specifically because he is talented. He's come through the academy. I'll call that out now, Nikki, in a second. Good comment. But he's come through the academy, high potential player, Argentinian international, has scored in a final, not on massive wages. You can afford to dig your heels in here and say, go and find us a transfer fee that makes sense for us. It's not about you. If you want to go join Chelsea, get Chelsea to come to the table with 50, 60 million quid. I don't know if they will. But if that doesn't happen, don't go sign him for 30. Make him stay. I agree, Corey. I think we have the power United have the power in the Garnacho negotiations. Not like the others. Jadon Sancho, no, you don't have much power. Marcus Rashford, no, you don't have much power because he's the highest earner at the club. And that's a burden on your outgoings. Anthony, kind of in the middle. Again, bettors are trying to take the mick here and want him on loan. They've spent money on other players and they're not actually putting any money up to go sign Anthony on a permanent deal, even though he only wants to go there. Like, I don't know. I just think Garnacho is the easiest one to do that with. Peter says, if Carlos Balaba's on United's radar, we should test the water with an offer near the end of the window to turn his head with a view for January. Look, if United go and approach Brighton over Baleba over the next couple of weeks, I think people will lose their heads. What will happen with Malacia? There seems to be no interest. I'm not so worried about that, really. I think this is going to be like a 2-3 million quid deal somewhere. I'm sure he'll get that move. If he doesn't, like, this not a big thing either. Again, he's not on high wages, but he's not getting back into the first team squad at all. I don't think. Nikki posted this just now. Newcastle made the best financial proposal, according to Fabrizio Romano, to all parties to sign SESKO, but the player wanted to go to Manchester United. That's what United should be looking for. Absolutely. Yeah, and there will be a lot of noise as well here. Like, there will be a lot of noise around this. Newcastle made this offer first. If he wants to join United, like, United haven't really had any reason to go in with more money, and it's been pretty much confirmed everywhere now. And like in that comment there, that Newcastle offered the biggest package, and he still didn't want to go there. So that in itself is like undoing the reputation of United going in as being the club that gives you the most money. I've talked about the wage structure so much, and how it's massively important to have that wage structure in the right order in terms of importance through the squad. Like, no player should be on 300k a week, really. But what United are putting in and how United are performing at the moment, they need to correct that. I think the range that they're going, look at like the reported money that each player's on now. There's plenty of websites. I'm not sure how accurate they are, but you do get a good idea of where players sit in the hierarchy. You're all looking at like 100. Delict is an exception, I think. Maybe that's a little bit high, but you look at the players like Yoro, Ahmad's new contract. I would imagine SESKO. I would imagine Dorgu's pretty low earner. These kinds of players. Maybe Dorgu doesn't even fit into this conversation, really, but you're looking at probably like 110 to 150. That's the right range for first-team players, I think. If United go back to the top and start winning stuff again, incentivize the contracts and we'll see. And if you prove to be Bruno Fernandes worth to this team, then okay, maybe we can go a little bit beyond. But United's problem for so long has been that they pay the highest wages to these players. And in that case, then they're so difficult to shift if it doesn't work. And the players are less incentivized to go and actually make the most of themselves because they're on the biggest pay packet they can get. Jonathan says, need to tell Anthony he's staying and not playing a World Cup year if he doesn't hurry up and sort out his move. Yeah, exactly. United have leverage here with these players. Garnacho especially, I think. We made more from the preseason prize money than we'll make from Malacia sale. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Keep your questions coming in, guys. I really appreciate this. And like, I only wanted to really make 2 points over the course of this video in terms of obviously reacting to the SESKO news. If there is more, I'll just double check now when I take a drink. I've just had in the last 9 seconds confirmation that Timothy Weah has joined Marseille. Devil's advocate, does that mean that Jadon Sancho to Juventus is reignited? Because Juventus wanted to sell some players before coming in for a player, before adding to the team. I think Timothy Weah as well can play in that kind of position. Maybe just calling this now. We thought that Juventus needed to shift some players on before going for Sancho. It's gone quiet over the last few days. Borussia Dortmund have been linked as well and been talking about it, but I said a few weeks ago, I thought Juventus would be the most likely place for him before it was pushed out that wasn't really a thing that was happening by, I think David Ornstein said that in the first place. Let's see. Juventus have sold a player there, so we will see. Is Victor Gyökeres starting for Arsenal? I think he is, yeah. Who are they playing? Don't know. Yeah, keep you guys questions. Keep them coming in. Would really appreciate it. Yeah, does that give them Jadon Sancho movement? Potentially, maybe. I'm not sure how big the deal has been. I don't think it's massive. Shuram says, after this year, Casemiro's off the budget. Marcos will get a permanent move next year as well. If we manage to get Sancho off the books, it will look a lot better. Look, he's out as well next year. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. So that is, off the top of my head, £600,000 a week from just Casemiro and Sancho off the books. Then you got Marcus Rashford potentially going on a transfer to Barcelona as well. That's 800, 750,000 pounds a week just from 3 players who aren't part of this team. There's Anthony as well, who's on much less. Yeah, but like that's the big problem that United have been having. Like they're holding. I've seen this. I've seen this, AJ. The pronunciation. I think people would just end up saying it in the English way. Personally, I don't know. But yes, obviously, Šeško, right? Benjamin Šeško. Stan the Man says, I like that United are doing due diligence on potential signings, character, and temperament. Yeah, Amorim's been talking about this recently as well. He's been saying that what? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Can't register Rashford? I don't know. I haven't seen. Ben and read it in the Welsh way. Lovely stuff. Look, I don't know whether Barcelona will actually. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Barcelona face a race against time to sell players so they can register Marcus Rashford in their squad. Look, nothing new there really. They've been up against this problem for a long time. It's the same thing every year. I'm sure they'll find a way. They did. There was a lot with Dani Olmo, right? In terms of how they registered him, they found ways around it. They always do. Jonathan says, do we start with Højlund up top with Mbeumo and Cunha, or Mbeumo up top with Cunha and Bruno behind when they come to play Arsenal? I prefer, like, if you're looking at, I don't know now. We'll see how this develops over the course of the next week. If Højlund is going to stay, which I make unlikely at this point, but if he's going to stay, I would think, or if there's no movement on a deal out anyway, I would think that he might end up starting that game. I think. Maybe we'll get an indication in the friendly against Fiorentina. I think we'll probably see close to that first 11 against Fiorentina, minus SESKO, obviously. And that'll take a few weeks. But I think I mentioned earlier the midfield, maybe Ugarte and Mainu would be the midfield that I pick. Maybe you have Bruno in one of the 10s. I would actually prefer Mbeumo through the middle, I think, to start with. And maybe Cunha in the 10. I don't know. I didn't really like it in the friendly the other day. Didn't love it. Andy Mitten is a good guy, by the way. Really, really nice guy. This is a Mitten friendly zone for sure. Yeah, I met Andy a few times. I sat with him and watched the one of Arsenal's 2-0 wins against United a few years ago. It was not fun, but nice guy. I've met him a few times as well. He's a good guy. Right. I'll probably wrap up in just a second. Jonathan says here, Ugarte and Mainu has been the best CM partnership so far this preseason. Suvik says, whenabouts do you think we can feel our best 11 at this sharpest after the October international break, in my opinion? Maybe the September one. Like, we got to hope as well that United aren't picking up any injuries over the course of the next few weeks. But maybe there's 3 matches. Then there's an international break, isn't it? So let's check here and see what the matches are. The Manchester Derby on the 14th of September, Sunday afternoon, 14th of September, match week 4. And then Chelsea after that. God, that's a difficult start for United, isn't it? It really is. Maybe that Manchester Derby, although I don't know which way that Ruben Amorim is going to pick his team for certain matches. I'm not sure yet. Does he have a strongest 11? Does he bring different options of different players into different matches to shore the team up? Does Casemiro get some? Yeah, hard start, man. It is a hard start. But, like, I need to deliver. If anything, like under Amorim last year, they were okay in the big games. So Jonathan says, how confident are you we're ready for a new season in comparison to previous? I'm I'm quietly optimistic. I think people are underestimating United a little bit because most people are putting United, like, they're judging them off the back of 15th. I still think in this team, they're still like a top 8 team, if not more. Like, the fact that there's 9 teams in the Premier League that are playing in Europe this season, and United are not one of them. This, as Shuram says there, can't be worse than last year. I said that last year, and it was. But yeah, like Ben says here, other fans talk like United are going to get relegated. Like, and Nicky says, let them do it. Let them do it. Exactly. Like, let's take this, right? People expect Arsenal to challenge for the title. If United go and like actually put in a performance that they are capable of against Arsenal, because we've seen it happen. Like, they beat Arsenal last season, in the cup. If they go and like make a statement on that first day, the picture changes completely. Obviously, they go to Fulham then, and like that's a different test completely. But starting the season will be starting the season well will be really, really important. And like Nate says here, everyone thinks that just because United was so bad last season, that it will be the same this year. I'm going into this season thinking there isn't a lot. I don't have a lot of expectation, really. And that's kind of nice in a sense. Maybe I won't get disappointed. I'm not expecting miracles straight away, but what I do want to see out of this season is United to be cohesive, to work really hard, to have a team identity come across, to have players buy into it, to have problems that we saw last season solved or in the process of being solved. I want to see better. I want to see something that I can kind of sink my teeth into and actually believe in, to give people optimism that although it might not be perfect in this first full year of Ruben Amorim, there is reason to believe that United can get back to competing at the top of the league within a couple of years. They've been making a point of like challenging and winning the league title within 3 years. Like, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. Obviously, it's a pipe dream at the moment, but they've got to be working towards that. And that's where United should be. I think we do have a group of people that are in charge now who know a lot more than the people in charge did previously. Yeah, I'm sick of that too. So there's one big hole in the midfield, I think, which does need to be filled in terms of that physicality thing. If United can go and fix that in a sense, and like Bruno Fernandes is going to play next to that midfielder, there will be games where United are kind of bested. I think there will be. But if they can go in and get in a midfielder that can help remedy that problem, so United are looking, be difficult to beat, be difficult to beat. That's what I want to see. But yeah, like the way that Everton kind of ran around United the other day and threw United was a bit of a concern. But anyway, right, I've been going for a little while now. This was just a me talking to you kind of thing. And I really appreciate you guys who have joined the stream and have been jumping in the comment section for this entire time. I really appreciate it. It's been good fun, guys. I'll probably be back tomorrow for another one of these. Maybe not this time on Friday because, well, it won't be Friday because I'm moving house. I'm moving out of this place that I'm in on Friday, which is going to be a painful day. I hate moving. I absolutely hate it. Adam Wharton's the answer. Carlos Balaber's the answer. As Ben says here, remember to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you do. If you like this kind of thing, I will be doing a lot more of these over the course of the season, I think. I'm trying to grow this channel and talking to you guys. I've never actually done it one-to-one before. I think it's kind of fun. So you guys who are watching, thanks a lot, man. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Please drop a like on the video as well so more people can see this and more people can... Yes, Ben, you're exactly right. I need 1,000 subs before he moves or the landlord will cancel the lease. I'm having enough problems as it is at the moment. Like with lots of... I hate moving, honestly, but I do need 1,000 subs. I want to get it as quick as possible. Where are we on that? Before I do go. No, more people have joined since I last checked. So thanks. If you have subscribed over the course of this video, thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed. Hope you thought it was fun. And I will hit the you hit the notification bell and I will start putting streams out there ahead of time so you do get notified like 30 minutes before I go live or whatever. And I'll try and do it at this time. maybe tomorrow, not Friday, but we'll see from the back end of next week. I'm also going on holiday from the start of next week. I'm also going on holiday in like 2 weeks' time as well. 2 weeks today, actually. But I might actually just jump on and do more streams if the internet holds up. But thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. And if you've been jumping in the comments, really appreciate it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop me a follow on social media at @_Scott Saunders. Subscribe everywhere that you can. And I'll see you soon for another episode of this, whatever this is, live streaming on the TPL channel. Thanks, guys.